Welcome to the special episode of My Crazy, My Rules. I'm Benn Shannon, and I am your host. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, why are we having a special edition? What's it all about? What could be so important that it couldn't wait until Monday? But stay calm. I'm going to explain that to you right now. As many of you know that have listened to my story, I've been in the Air Force, I have been a firefighter, I have been a 911 dispatcher, so I have spent much of my adult life either in the protection of my country or taking care of people that live here. And like many of you, 9/11/2001, I was at home. I had just moved to Texas about 3 or 4 days earlier, and my wife already had me outside doing yard work. And all of a sudden, my wife came out of the front door yelling at me. I needed to come inside, and I needed to do it right away. And I really couldn't imagine what was going on. I thought somebody was hurt. Something was happening bad. And obviously it was. I came inside, and I looked at the TV, and I saw the Twin Towers burning. And I had no idea why at that time. I just saw massive fire. And as I watched the news, I heard that a plane had hit first the first tower, and then another plane had hit the second tower. And to myself, I was thinking, what happened? Did air traffic control go down? Did they have some sort of major mechanical malfunctions? No idea whatsoever. But this isn't about my story. That I'm going to tell on 9/11/2025, which is going to be the 24th anniversary of that day. What I'm asking for you on this special podcast today is I'm asking you for your story. Where were you? What were you doing? How did you feel when you found out what was happening? And then what did you feel later on when you found out that it was a terrorist attack? Were you involved directly or indirectly on the Twin Towers or with the Pentagon? I need your help in what I am trying to accomplish. I am going to do a special 9/11 tribute episode, and this is going to be paying tribute to all those that were directly attacked. There was over 2,900 people that were killed that day, and many thousands more were injured. I'm going to pay tribute, or I should say we're going to pay tribute to the first responders, to the firefighters, to the EMS personnel, the police officers, the many who bravely sacrificed their lives that day in response to the call. I'm going to do this by reading your stories, your accounts of that day. This is your chance to tell what it felt like for you personally. How was your life changed? Your story doesn't need to be about being there or having someone that was personally involved, but it can be. It's just about how that day affected you. I will start reading these stories that you have sent in at 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time. That's the time they say the first tower was hit. So that will be 7:46 if you're like here in Texas, Central Time, and if you're in California, 5:46 a.m. I'm then going to continue for 12 hours. I'm going to be telling your stories. I'm going to be naming every person that was killed on that day from this attack. And I'm also going to be talking about facts that happened on that day. So many things happened. We had the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, the White House that was on high alert because, as you know, the one that hit the Pentagon was actually supposed to hit the White House. And then we had the field in Pennsylvania. Where on that aircraft, people actually kept it from coming into Washington, D.C. And I do apologize. I'm stuttering. I'm kind of fishing for words. And the reason is, number one, I feel very strongly about this. I feel very strongly about this podcast, but it's also because just remembering this time, I can remember absolutely everything about it. It was 24 years ago, and like I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, I do remember it all. I remember the smells. I remember where I was at, and I don't ever want to forget that day, and that's what this tribute podcast is about. The children and the young adults that were not even alive that day will know of the attack on our freedom and will know about people that were injured and died protecting our freedom. And the only way I can do this is with your help. There's no way I can do it alone. I know I'm asking a lot, But I also know that together, this is something we can do. We can show that we have not forgotten 9/11/2001, and we never will. By sharing our story, it's going to be a part of history. It's going to be your personal account of what you went through that day, and it's going to be told again and again, long after we're gone. It's something that your family will be able to share. Many generations down the line, your children, your children's children, your children's children's children will be able to listen to this. They will know what grandma or grandpa went through on that horrible day. What did great-grandma and great-grandpa feel about that day? Even if you weren't directly involved, you were changed. And what I'm asking you again is, won't you please come help me make that day a remembrance? I don't have to share your name. As you know, things on this podcast always can remain anonymous, but I do need your story. And yes, we will still have a regular podcast after that. We're going to have a regular podcast after this one. And matter of fact, the story that I'm going to be reading tomorrow on Monday is a very emotional story from someone that was a young lady, matter of fact, that when she was a child was beaten up by adults and teenagers and actually left in a parking lot to die. So that is going to be a tremendous story. What I'm asking again, your letters sent to letters@mycrazymyrules.com. We want to preserve this day in history. I want to make this tribute episode a massive success, and I'm sure you don't want to just hear me for 12 hours reading over the names. Let me get your story in. Letters@mycrazymyrules.com. And I can't thank you enough for, number one, listening to my podcast, and number two, sharing your stories. You have a wonderful evening.